Hey everyone, hello and welcome this week to our college and university webinar series brought to you by the Arundel Academy, a private high school located just outside Toronto that specializes in preparing students for post-secondary success at some of the top universities and colleges in Canada. Now, don't forget, students, parents, people watching out there, to hit that little subscribe button as we bring you more discussions from other top universities and colleges in Canada. So please subscribe to our channel and you'll get the latest updates as we do more of these fantastic webinars to help students decide where to go to school and which school to choose. And today we have here Ricardo Rivera from Mohawk College. Welcome, Ricardo.
James, very glad to be here. Very happy to be here with you and sharing with the audience the advantages of coming to study at Mohawk College here in Hamilton, Ontario, in Canada. Happy to be here. Very excited.
Absolutely. Now, Mohawk College is very, very famous for its health and technology, engineering, IT. But did you know that Mohawk advertising students have won more than 30 Canadian Marketing Association awards? So they're very, very talented students at Mohawk. And Mohawk is also closely connected to McMaster University. Both are based in Hamilton, and there are a number of dual diploma programs with McMaster. So you can get a degree from McMaster and a diploma from Mohawk. And they also have some 2+2 programs, which I'm sure, Ricardo, you're going to talk about later. Now, some famous graduates from Mohawk.
All right, let's go.
Maybe you can help Jillian Barberi. She's a famous TV personality in America and sportscaster. I've seen her on some of the football and baseball shows. The mayor of Hamilton, Fred Eisenberger, he's a graduate. Joey Muha, he's a YouTube creator. And Master T, a VJ from Rap City.
Exactly, long time show.
Yes, yeah. So it's great. It's great. So welcome, Ricardo. Welcome, Ricardo. Now, and welcome to everybody watching. So today, Ricardo, just to let you know, we will have students that are local, and we will have students that will be from overseas, international students. So I want to make everyone aware that we kind of have two audiences. So awesome. Ricardo will be talking about some things related to international students as well. Now, before we get started, talk with our Mohawk Talk, I have some questions for Ricardo. So
yeah, please.
Ricardo, what is the advantage of going to college in Canada? Because you were an international student at one time. So why did you choose Canada? Why did you go to college? What was your career history here in post-secondary education?
All right, mine was a little bit particular because, as you can note from my accent, I come from Latin America. I come from Colombia. I came to Canada 20 years ago with the intention of studying aerospace engineering. At the time, I was space has been something that has always fascinated me since I was a little kid, and we had the opportunity, and I took the decision. We made the decision, my parents as well, and basically I came to Canada. I chose Canada because of its multiculturalism. I had the opportunity to come years before that to an ESL program at Seneca College. That was another big mistake because not Seneca as an institution, because it's a great institution, but their English program is like our English program, which are programs designed for people who are 18 and above, ideally, right? And at the time, I was very young. I was
students preparing for college. So completely. A lot of academic English.
Exactly.
A lot of reading, writing.
I did attend a program that it was very, very academic. It was a great program, but I was at the time 14 or 15. And all my friends, they were 18, 19, right? So the age difference was, it was gigantic. And for
you grew up quickly.
You grew up. Yeah, completely. It was a summer. It was a whole summer. But that summer allowed me to get to know Canada a little bit more, right? Like
Right.
I was living in Toronto, I was living with a Canadian family. It was a great experience, and that was an important factor at the time of making this decision of coming to do post-secondary education in Canada. And
Right.
that being said, I went through a lot of changes at 16. Kind of, you don't have a very solid foundation or idea of what it is that you really want to study. And once you come to university or college, you get exposed to other different things, right? Other different programs, other different interests. And at the end, I ended up graduating with a degree in global political studies. I got bitten by the politics mosquito, and I got very passionate about it. And I enjoyed my program at York. But the thing is that I noticed through my personal experience that the Canadian labor market looks and focuses a lot on experience, right? On the practical skills and the know-how. That's what the majority of employers in Canada are looking for. You
Right.
can have the academics, you can be very good at the academic part, but you need to have these skills that jobs require these days. How to talk to a person, how to work with software if you're looking to become a software developer, or marketing. What are the tools that we use nowadays to do a marketing campaign, a digital marketing campaign? You need to know all these skills, right? I find that colleges are institutions that provide these skills to students. We focus a lot on that type of education in combining the academics, but also providing the skills, the toolkit that the student needs in order to become an active member in the Canadian labor market. I see that's the biggest difference between those two.
Okay.
Now, that being said, well, I'm going to talk about from the perspective from Latin America and talking to my other colleagues at Mohawk. We kind of share the same line of thought here, is that there is a tendency to not know how the educational system in Canada really works and how the labor market connects with that education system, right? So many of us tend to make decisions based on what we already know, what we are familiar with. In my case, in Colombia, the majority of the times you go to a university because that's what is expected, right? Technical education in Latin America is underfunded. It's seen as the education that only the people that cannot afford to go to university pursue. Therefore, I came to a university in Canada, but with a Colombian mentality, not with being exposed to the realities of the Canadian labor market and the Canadian educational system.
Okay. Now, just for the viewers out there watching, if you do
Mhm.
have any
Please.
questions rather, we'll have
Yeah.
Ricardo answer. Send it through on the Q&A chat box down there at the bottom, and we'll ask Ricardo as it happens. Now, a quick question that's come through here from a student. What is the difference between the public community college and the private career colleges that are out there? Could you explain that difference?
Yeah, well, the main difference is that public will always receive funding from the government, right? We are regulated in this case by the Ministry of Ontario and the Government of Canada. That being said, we can provide, well, number one, our structure, our building, our edifices, where you're going to be able to take your classes are A plus. Like Mohawk College as an institution, as the structured part of it, it's phenomenal. You can see the public investment being invested where it really needs to go. It really needs to be, right? Laboratories that come with like latest computers, latest technology. You're going to be receiving classes in a structure that is like a developed country structure, right? Like an A plus structure. Now, that being said, it also provides us the ability to be working in conjunction with the government of Canada, allowing the student to work 20 hours during their study per week, during their study period, and working full time during vacations. And once the student has completed their academic degree, they are going to have the possibility to apply for a postgraduate work permit, also known as a PGWP. And the idea of this permit is that the government of Canada allows the student to put in practice what they have just learned, right? So they went to college to take a program, an academic program that is linked to the labor market, linked to the actual necessities of a labor market. So the government tells the student, you know what? Here is a permit, stay 3 more years in Canada, put in practice what you have. And there is a route to do an immigration process as well to become a Canadian permanent resident by taking advantage of this work permit. Basically, and ideally, you need to fulfill 1,560 working hours in your area of studies, and it must be a certain type of jobs that will allow you to apply for a Canadian permanent residency.
And how long is the visa after they graduate? How long can they stay in Canada?
For our audience, in this case that we're talking about kids, like high school students, you have to take a 2-year or a 3-year program, and you will receive a 3-year postgraduate work permit.
So if I take a 2-year program, I can get a 3-year work permit after I graduate?
That is correct.
Okay. And with the career colleges, they're shorter terms, maybe 8-9 months, maybe a year maximum, but you cannot get the PGWP.
That is correct. If the college is a private college, it's very hard. It's almost impossible to do or take the advantages that immigration has in place if you go instead to a public.
Right. Okay. Now, in your experience and talking with students, talking with people at Mohawk College, what do you think are the best programs for future job opportunities?
Well, Mohawk College is very strong on engineering programs and IT programs, and those are the future careers. Anything that is related with engineering and anything that is related to IT. And also the health sector as well. We're gonna, for September 2021, we're gonna release probably what's gonna be our first undergrad program in digital health. And for instance, let's start with the IT programs. For you and I to be able to do this right now, we need a software developer. We need from the other end somebody that is in charge of the security, that the conversation is not being hacked or anything like that. So it becomes a necessity, right? So anything that is system like IT related, it has potential for the future. And engineering programs, they are the highest paid programs in Canada in the labor market. An engineering student on their first year, they could be expected to be making between 60,000 to 70,000 Canadian dollars. And that's a very, very good salary for someone who's just starting in the Canadian labor market.
All right. Okay. I seem to be getting a little bit of strange feedback here from our Zoom show. I don't know. Are you getting that, Ricardo?
No, but I can hear it through my headphones. It's
All
okay.
right. That's good. I'm getting a little bit of it's just repeating back to me what is going on. But we'll continue on. So can you give us a little bit of an introduction to Mohawk College? Tell us about it.
Perfect. So if you want me, I can put a presentation screen right now.
Absolutely.
I'm just gonna click it here. Perfect. Beautiful. So the idea of today's webinar is to speak about the advantages of college education in Canada and to speak to the people who are interested a little bit more about Mohawk College. As I mentioned before, my name is Ricardo Rivera. I am the market specialist for Mohawk College in Latin America.
I love your little avatar.
Thank you. It's been a big hit, eh? A lot of people love it.
It's very easy to draw, I think.
Oh, yeah. With the big amount of hair that I have.
Yeah, please make one for me. I'm just an egg as well.
I will do it. I'll put the mask and everything. All right. And as we were talking at the beginning of the presentation, at some point in time, I was an international student in Canada as well. I faced, as I explained before, the problems that I had in my process. Basically, not knowing or not acknowledging that Canada is a different country than where we're coming from. And we need to be and understand this with an open mind in order to be able to make good decisions. What works in Colombia, what works in Vietnam, what works in other countries around the world doesn't mean that works in Canada. Canada is a very different country. It has a different educational system. It has a different labor market that is looking for different things.
What was the biggest difference for you? What did you find when you first came? A lot of
Um,
people say it's sometimes the group work or it's the essay structure. What was the big difference for you?
James, I'm not gonna lie when I tell you this. The biggest, most shocking thing that I actually dealt when I do my presentations in Latin America was the English. English. Here's the thing. As a Colombian, I went to a private, very apparently I went to what it was known at the time as the most important and the best high school in Colombia. Okay, so I grew up all my life being educated in English. Like the only class that I didn't receive in English was Spanish. I went to a Catholic school, so religion was in English as well. But once I came here, and once I began my studies at York University, and for my first class, when they asked me, okay, you have to write a 250-word essay explaining your your arguments, I was like, okay, hold on a second.
Yeah.
That for me was the biggest shock.
Yeah.
Um, and both university and colleges, I find they place a lot of emphasis in work group. Like you have to go in teams, you have to work everything,
Yeah.
which is great. I think it's phenomenal. At that age, it's important to understand that you are gonna need the help of others in order to succeed. Always, right? You cannot do it on your own. And the earlier you start understanding this, the better you are gonna be, not only at a professional but at a personal level as well. That for me was also shocking as well. I was educated all my life, kind of like a simple you do, you're gonna obtain, right? And then I came here and it's like, no, it changes. Now you're gonna be member of a group and the results are gonna be dependent on everybody's input and everybody's
Okay, good. All right. It's very fascinating. Fascinating. I think a lot of
work.
international students are interested in that. All right, continue on.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, and basically when I came here, as I was mentioning before, if I came with a closed mind. I came with the mind of like not knowing the realities of the country that I was coming to. Uh, I knew the country because I had the opportunity to come years before that for an ESL program, but other than that, for me, it was not very clear the Canadian education system. How does it work? Why there are colleges in Canada? Why there are universities in Canada? What's the labor market? Mm, A lot of us, as people, as individuals, we go and pursue higher education with the objective to someday join the labor market. That's what we want to do, right? We want to be able to afford a style of living. We want to afford to have a family, to do different things, to go on vacations, to probably down the line buy a house. And these are things that nobody at that time was telling me. So basically, we made a decision on Canada, Toronto, because it's the only thing that you know in Latin America, Toronto. That's it. And around the world too. And what I tell people is like Canada is the second largest country in extension in the world. So the opportunities are not only limited to Toronto or Vancouver. Only in Ontario, we are 30 public institutions, 30 colleges
Yeah,
in Ontario,
there's a lot.
just
There is a
Ontario.
lot in on our province of Ontario. I should mention.
Exactly.
I should mention also, Ricardo, because some people may be listening and used to American education system. And
Yes,
in America, they often say college and university is the same thing,
that's
a
correct.
4-year program. But in Canada, it is totally different. The university is 4-year, and college is 2 or 3 year program. So
That is correct.
it's totally different in Canada. So I just want to mention that when you talk about the Canadian education system.
Yeah, and actually to make a little bit of a resemblance, we resemble more to the German education system, right?
Okay.
Pretty much alike. It's when you, like it's exactly almost exactly the same. Where what we're looking here is to train people to have the skills that the labor market requires,
Yeah. Yeah.
that the market requires. That's what we do, right?
Yeah, a lot of it is job focused, definitely.
That
The
is correct.
education in Canada is trying to focus you in on a specific job that you want to do. Now, you don't have to choose that job, students, right away from the moment
No,
you enter. Your first year, they give you kind of a broad education, and then slowly by the third year or your last year in your program, you're a little more focused, and hopefully you're choosing one or two interesting job career paths that you could go on. Yeah. Sorry, continue on.
no, no, no. That's a great point. And That being said, I like to always explain to people a little bit more in detail how is Canada's education system, what are the differences, but not to overcomplicate it. I feel that when we go deep down the rabbit hole and overcomplicate this simple explanations where people get lost and then they just end up making bad decisions, right? So in short, Canada has two institutions. It has universities and has the public colleges, right? Universities in Canada, they administer the professional programs. So meaning that if you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be a psychologist, you do have to go to a university because you have to start through an undergrad, then just pursue a master's degree, and then pursue your PhD in the case of a person who wants to become a psychologist in the future, right? In the case of a lawyer, you have to go to an undergrad degree and then you have to go to law school. So for those type of programs, there is an advantage and you do have to go to university to pursue a program like that. But if your options, if your career prospects, and if your career goals are different, you need to focus on what is the labor market asking for that program. And that's what we do as a college. We administer career-oriented programs. So our academic programs, they have a combination of the academics and the skills that are required. So we're going to give you that toolkit in order to enter the Canadian labor market. And this is an excellent way to demonstrate how this whole operation works. How do we develop the programs as a public institution? Mohawk College, how does Mohawk develop its programs? It's very simple. It's a three-way conversation between the economic groups of the area where we are located and its surroundings, and the Ministry of Education of Ontario and the Government of Canada. In conjunction with the economic groups, they are the ones who they let us know what are the necessities of the labor market. What is the labor market requiring? And we, Mohawk College, as a public institution, in conjunction with the Ministry of Education, we develop the programs. We develop the toolkit to deliver it to the student, to train the student.
And this is very important, students, to understand, because if you're planning to immigrate, you need to know what the government is thinking and where they want you to go. So the fact that Mohawk is working in conjunction with the Canadian labor market, with the Canadian government, it's going to make sure when you graduate that you're pointed in the right direction for immigrating to Canada, because ultimately that's what the Canadian government wants. It wants an educated workforce. It wants a good workforce that's ready to help society grow and develop. And they want you to be educated, but in the areas that they want that economy to grow in. They don't want everybody to be a chef. I mean, nothing wrong with being a chef.
Nothing wrong.
You could have too many chefs. You could have too many chefs in the kitchen, too many cooks in the kitchen. So, you need waiters and you need business managers and you need other things for a restaurant to grow. So sometimes you get more points in the immigration. And so Mohawk is working with the government and coming up with those programs that the government wants to see and develop. So that's a very important point to understand.
And that's a very important point that you mentioned there, James, because for instance, to demonstrate people how this actually works is that, say for instance, the labor market has already enough chefs out there. So as an institution, we're gonna close the program because if the student is pursuing an education that is leading them nowhere, is leading them to no job, or the labor market is oversaturated with those positions,
right?
Business in putting an education program in place for those people. So the program will close. The programs, if there is no job, there's no need for a program.
There's no point, right? Yeah.
There's absolutely no need for a program, right?
Very interesting.
No, it is great. It's like mind-blowing once you really understand how the system works, how this whole operation works. It's phenomenal because it actually makes you be pointing towards the right direction when you have to make a decision of where to study and where to start in this case, right?
Yeah.
So that being said, Mohawk College is a public institution. It opened its doors around the mid-60s with the intention to train people for the labor market. We're located in Hamilton, Ontario, which is a great city, and I'm gonna speak more about this throughout the presentation. Most important, I want to start speaking about the advantages that we offer as a public institution in Canada. First of all, let's speak about the cost of living. We're located in a city that is only 45 minutes away from Toronto, from the financial muscle force of this country, only 45 minutes away. But this comes with an advantage, the advantage of the low cost of living. This means that the student is going to be able to live in a city where rent is going to be not as expensive as a city like Toronto, for instance. Toronto nowadays, it's among the 5 most expensive cities in the world. Vancouver as well, which are the 2 main cities in Canada. So here we start looking at advantages, right? When we start opening our mind and looking at the advantages that the second biggest country in extension in the world provides, we can see that at 45 minutes away from Toronto, there is a city that a student, it's gonna need between 1,250 Canadian dollars to 1,700 Canadian dollars per month to be able to pay rent, to afford food, to afford a cell phone, to pretty much live a good lifestyle while they're pursuing their studies. And I lived 18 years of my life in Toronto. Toronto is one of the most expensive cities nowadays. And if you want to live in downtown Toronto, just your rent is gonna be more than 2,500 Canadian dollars. Just rent for an apartment, for yourself, for a studio. So that's something to think about, right?
And also students, if you're thinking about Toronto and Hamilton, it's very close. You can jump on a bus or a train from Hamilton right into Toronto. It's 45 minutes, and you're right downtown. When you get off the train, you're right downtown. It's so convenient. You're close to the baseball game, the lake, the all of these great areas of Toronto, and then you don't have to worry about all that rent. You just jump back on the train, head back to Hamilton, and 45 minutes you're back home. It's very convenient, very easy. Yeah.
Or nowadays, what I tell my students, nowadays we have all these tech apps that have been able to help us to live a very comfortable life. Now you just go on Airbnb, and for 30 bucks, you can rent a condo for one night. So you just go on a Saturday and come back on the Sunday.
Yeah.
You get to enjoy everything. There is, but at a good cost though, right? Then next, Hamilton has the lowest unemployment rate in the province of Ontario. This is very important, and a lot of people don't look at this as a crucial factor when they take that decision of pursuing education outside their home countries. When we look at education, we need to also analyze how are we going to put our experiences into actions. How are we going to take advantage, and what is the return of investment that we're going to receive from our education? When we look at a city like Hamilton, which has the lowest unemployment rate in Ontario, it means that something tells me, there is an official number that tells me that once I'm done with my academic program, I'm gonna be able to find a job in my area of studies. I'm not gonna struggle. Going to college is not gonna be a frustration, right? I love talking about my personal experience, having gone to one of the best universities in the world, the political science program at York University, one of the best and tops in North America. But unfortunately, it took me about almost a year and a half to 2 years to go into the Canadian labor market because it was a very academic degree. I didn't run with me skills that at the time the labor market was demanding. So therefore for me, my 6-year degree, instead of becoming something that I was a little bit, now I'm proud at 36, I'm proud that I pursued that. But at the time, speaking at the time, I was frustrated. I was very frustrated because that's when you start questioning yourself. Did I make the right decision? Why did I do that 6-year degree if it's taking me so long to get a job? Why my opportunities are closing down every day? So this is very important. You have to understand that whatever it is that you're going to study, it needs to be linked to an unemployment rate. You need to look at what are your real chances of getting a job in the area that you study.
Right.
They combine that you're going to come to Mohawk and you're going to be able to find a job once you're done. Something that makes me really proud of representing Mohawk College is the importance that we give to our international students. This is a great point. Mohawk College has an office dedicated only to cater to international students. Understanding that the experience of the international student in Canada is very different from a domestic student. The international student is going to have more needs, right? James, more than anybody, you understand this. Erindale receives a lot of international students, and when you compare these kids to a Canadian kid, well, the Canadian has grown here. They are very familiar with how things work, how the operation works here, and international, they're not. So
Yeah.
they're gonna need more help. And you could be 16 or you could be 45, because I have 45-year-old students from Latin America at Mohawk College. They all have the same support system. They all have the same questions. They are gonna all receive the same answers. But it's good that they have somewhere to go, that they're not a number more. Like, right, their name changes to a number. They are a person that they're gonna receive support. And that's something that I'm very proud of Mohawk College. We care for international students.
I also want to say
Yeah.
that Mohawk College is actually an incredibly beautiful campus. It is in Hamilton, as Ricardo said, but it's kind of up on top of a hill, on top
The
of
mountain.
a mountain.
Hamilton's mountain. Yep.
Hamilton's mountain. And it is absolutely a beautiful location looking down over all of Hamilton. It's kind of the beginning of the Niagara Falls. From a billion years ago, Niagara Falls used to flow over there. And it is a fantastic campus. It's very beautiful. And I enjoy going there to visit.
And something that is really cool about that campus, actually, let me tell you about a federal campus. I'm saying this as a Latino that I am. All the campus is interconnected by tunnels, right?
Yeah.
So in winter,
All underground.
once it's minus 20 degrees
Yeah.
outside, you're not gonna have to go outside.
No, you're never outside. Yeah.
No, nothing. All you have to do is like take off your jacket, you put it on your locker, you put your bag in the locker, and you're ready to go to class the whole day.
And the other interesting thing about Hamilton, while we're on the topic, is that there's many waterfalls around Hamilton. Of course, Niagara Falls is nearby Hamilton and close to Mohawk, but there's other beautiful, spectacular waterfalls in the area. It's a fantastic area.
It has 130 waterfalls.
There you go. I knew you'd have the number.
130. We're known. Hamilton, Ontario is known as the capital of the world in waterfalls.
Now, you don't have the big giant ones like in Brazil, but you have a lot of little ones, beautiful ones, really great places to enjoy nature.
No, it's a beautiful city. And in order to get to know this beautiful city, as a Mohawk College student, we are going to take care of your transportation while you complete your studies. This means that your transportation is going to be included. It's unlimited. You can hop on and off of the buses that are going all around Hamilton throughout the 2 years or 3 years of your program. So that starts becoming
that's both students, Canadian students or international students. It's all.
That is correct. That is an agreement that it was worked by the Mohawk Student Association and Hamilton Transportation Authority.
Right.
And basically any student that comes to Mohawk, they receive an unlimited bus pass, right? And something that is very important for those that are watching us right now, parents especially, as a Mohawk student, you're gonna be insured. You're gonna be covered. Medical insurance is provided as well. So at all times throughout your academic program, you won't have to worry about, okay, what if something happens to me? What if an emergency happens to me, right? You're gonna be covered 100%. So that's something very good.
Great.
Let us talk about a little bit of the advantages that the government has permitted us to promote as a public institution. As a Mohawk College student, you're gonna be able to work 20 hours per week during your studies, 20 hours per week during your studies, and full-time, doing 40 hours on vacation period.
Okay.
So this is a great opportunity.
That's the summer period.
Yes.
They can work 40 hours. So
that is correct.
When would that be? May or
May to August.
May to August. So you get, good 4 months there of work, full-time work.
Exactly. And it's a great opportunity as well to start developing yourself as a person, right? I mean, I'm not gonna lie, in Colombia, while I was growing up, we don't have this, well, I mean, it exists, but I never had to work when I was a young person, right? I never had to work at a mall or anything like that. But when I came to Canada and that opportunity opened to myself, for me, it was phenomenal. It was a new experience. And it helped me as well to value more what my parents were giving me at the time, and to value the results of working, like earning a salary and being able to contribute to my monthly expenses at the time. It was
And you
it
learn,
was something great.
you learn about people, you learn about customer service, you learn about
Yes,
relationship management, all of those things that your professors maybe talk about, but yeah, you learn when you're out
exactly,
in the
and it's
working
important.
world.
No, it's important because that's what we want, right? We want students to learn about the real world, but through real experiences. Don't sit down and just read it on a book. Come here and make it happen. That's how we wanted to do it. And like that's how good it is that basically you can work. They call it part-time. I rather call it a couple of hours. And why do I call it a couple of hours? Because something that I always recommend to students is like when you get here, don't rush to get the study permit. Give it about a month, give it about 2 months. Get used to the workload that you are going to be responsible for. Make sure that you're going to have the time in order to dedicate your time to do something that it's giving to you as an opportunity, not as a something to be done, right? Because you're here to study. You're here to get good grades. You're here to learn. You're here to adapt yourself to the culture, right? When you start slacking off, when you start putting more attention to the work hours instead to your studies, most likely down the line that's going to come back to you. You're going to have to spend probably your vacation period repeating courses that you have to pay as an international student, right? So it's always good to wait, go baby steps, check it out, make sure that the workload is good for you, and then take advantage of that work
Right,
and allow
right.
to
Yeah.
use.
Good advice. Good advice.
Always. I learned from experience myself. I use that. All right. And something that it's, I believe nowadays we can speak openly about this is the opportunity that the government gives to the people that come and get educated in an institution that is administered by the Ministry of Ontario of Education in this case, because we're located in Ontario, Canada, right? That it would be to be able to apply to a permanent residency once you are done with your studies. And the way how this works is that what you're going to do is that once you end your studies, your 2-year program or 3-year program, you're going to be able to apply for a postgraduate work permit, also known as a PGWP. And with this permit, you're going to be allowed to stay 3 more years in Canada, putting in practice what you just learned at Mohawk College. And if you fulfill certain requirements, certain immigration requirements, you're going to be able to apply for a permanent residency through the Canadian Experience class, which is one of the 90 avenues to immigrate to Canada. We have 90 immigration programs in Canada. One of them, the most secure, most safe, the one that provides the people with the security that they're gonna end up obtaining a Canadian permanent residency is the avenue of come to a public college, get educated with Canadian experience, and then we're gonna give you the opportunity to become a Canadian permanent residency. Then you get
Actually, number one would be marrying a Canadian.
oh
Number
yeah,
two would be,
yeah,
but
that would be
sure,
the fastest one, right? Getting
that's the
married by
fastest
the
and easiest way. Yes.
it's the easiest.
Yeah.
But okay, let's talk about this one. That's the second easiest in that case. And yeah, that
Yeah.
will lead you to become a citizen of this country. And that's what happened with me. I've been here in this country 20 years. Canada is my home now. I'm Colombian, but I don't want to sound like somebody who hates his own country.
Are you
But
single? Are you single?
no. I'm
Okay,
actually
all right.
engaged.
So there's
I'm
one,
engaged.
we're both off the market. So you got to find
Yep,
another or find another Canadian or go to college.
exactly. That's all you have to do. All right. So talking about our location, as I mentioned before, here is a map for people to get a little bit more familiar. We are 1 hour away from Toronto and 1 hour and 15 away from Niagara Falls. We're basically located in the midpoint of this golden horseshoe. But something that is very important to speak about, it's the Ontario Innovation Corridor. So what is this? The Ontario Innovation Corridor is 127 kilometers that go from the city of Toronto to the region of Waterloo, Ontario. Okay? These are 127 kilometers that are now the house of the second largest technology corridor in North America after Silicon Valley. So we have 127 kilometers full of opportunities, right? Right now, this corridor houses over 15,000 technology companies. 5,200 just were created in the past 3 years. creating 300,000 jobs in the employment sector, in the technology sector. So this is why considering a technology program at Mohawk College, it would be a great idea because you're going to come, you're going to be able to study a program, you're going to learn about Canada, acquire Canadian experience, and then safely we're going to be able to enter the Canadian labor market. There is a
very good point. I mean, you can drive up and down the corridor and you can see Amazon, you can see Google.
That is correct.
All of these huge tech companies, just like Silicon Valley, like Silicon Valley.
That is where it's heading. I remember, I'm not gonna lie, I remember reading about this almost 7 years ago on a report that was produced by Korn Ferry, the consulting company, in where they were starting to talk about this, about like, you know what, there's Canada, there's Waterloo, there's Toronto, there's this whole technology corridor that in the next 10 to 20 years, it's gonna be a technology boom. Well, now it is happening, and now is the right time to jump on this, right? Now, so talking about Mohawk, talking about our location, talking about the entire technology corridor, what do we have to offer? At Mohawk, we have 106 programs available for international students. As I always say, I don't like to call them programs. I call them opportunities because that's what academics should be. An opportunity for you, an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to acquire knowledge, right? So we have 106 opportunities available for international students. From these 106 opportunities, 23 of them are delivered with the option to take it with co-op. So for those that are watching this video right now and are not familiar with co-op education, what does that mean? Co-op education or cooperational education is the possibility for you to take an academic program in conjunction, combining it with practice, with being able to work, acquiring real work experience in your field of studies.
Okay, so let me ask you some questions because there are some questions popping up here for the co-op. Okay. How long is it? So is it one semester and is it paid?
It is paid. I am not 100% sure right now, but a couple of years I had the opportunity to work at a place where I was told that in Ontario, if the program is called co-op, by law, it needs to be paid. And that's when you have the difference between co-op and placements, right? A placement is non-paid, you go, you volunteer your time, but it's a great networking opportunity.
And placements students are usually in the health industry where
yes, that is correct.
Usually cannot pay you for
exactly.
healthcare. Depending, but usually that's what I understand.
That is correct.
So those are placements where you have to learn the skills in the healthcare industry. And then the other ones are co-op, which is paid.
It's paid. Our co-op programs are always paid. At Mohawk College, the co-ops, they always last 1 year, okay?
1 year.
1 year. But here is a good time to talk about how is an academic year in Canada. A lot of people speak about semesters, right?
Yeah.
But in Canada, what we call a semester is not 6 months, it's 4 months, right? So at Mohawk, say for instance, you decided to pursue that program in software development. You're going to study your first semester, that would be ideally from September to December. Then from January to April, which is your second semester, you're going to be working in a company, acquiring experience already as a software developer.
And it's paid.
And it's paid. So you're getting paid already and you haven't even graduated. You're already acquiring that experience. You're able to start working in that field that passionates you. So that's a phenomenal thing. And it's also a real good way to know if that's what you really want to pursue, right? And there is no problem in changing. That's fine. If you don't like what you are doing, you're at the right time after your first semester, after the first 4 months. You're at a good time to say, like, you know what? I thought I liked this, but I don't like it anymore. I want to explore what other opportunities I have.
You want to try another co-op, yeah.
Exactly. You can try another co-op.
You could do 3 different co-ops, correct? Because it's 4 months, 4 months, 4 months.
That is correct.
You can do you can do 3 different co-ops to find the career that you want to do.
Ideally, I mean, you can look for them as well. In Hamilton and its surroundings, there is a lot of opportunities to apply to co-op programs as well.
And does Mohawk help the students
yes.
find everything?
We do. We have a center that supports the students in all that aspect of job search, how to write a resume, how to write a cover letter, how to behave on an interview. We, as I said before, Mohawk College and the support that it provides to their students, it's something amazing, it's something out of this world. Like, the idea is to make the student experience something phenomenal, where the student is grateful that they came at the end to Mohawk College and they are at a.
Another question that came through: what are the companies that do the Mohawk?
Oh, this is tricky.
Do you have?
You're not gonna believe
names,
this,
or can you say the names?
I can't say the names, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Because in the past, doing these public presentations, we would put the names out, and then the companies would be receiving emails of people wanting to acquire jobs directly with them.
Yeah.
So
you got to go to Mohawk first.
Exactly.
Find out what the companies are.
Exactly. I mean, I would love to tell you the names, but we can't. Unfortunately, we can't. Okay. So you take your co-op program, but now we have to emphasize something here. As good as this sounds, there is a whole confusion about if I do need to take a co-op program in order to acquire all the benefits that immigration provides me, right? If I want to pursue a PGWP, so do I need to take a co-op program? The answer is no, it's not required. As I said before, these 106 opportunities are created because there are 106 opportunities that are needed in the Canadian labor market. We need people with these skills, right? So whether you take a co-op program or whether you don't, you are gonna be able at the end of the day to do your application to your postgraduate work permit, right? And I emphasize a lot about this because in Latin America, especially, there has been this whole, yeah, but I need to take a program that is co-op in order to be able to do the PGWP. And then once you explain to the student how we design the programs and what is the intention of the program, they're like, oh, okay, I see. So my options are open, not only 23, you have 106, right? In what areas do we have jobs? Programs. We have aviation. We have 3 really good programs that are related to the mechanical aspect, the structural aspect, and the electronic aspect of airplanes, right?
And students, what you should know is that in Hamilton, there's actually an airport.
So, we have an airport, international airport.
That is a Mohawk airplane you're looking at down below at an international airport. It is an international airport. So a lot of people fly into Toronto, but Hamilton has one as well.
That is true. That's the Joseph Monroe International Airport. That's a 737 that we have. And we also have other 10.
You will fly students in, yes, during COVID-19.
We could technically, but the government is a little bit picky.
A little tricky with the government, right? Okay. Yeah. Under the cloud, under the radar. Okay.
Exactly. We need to put some stealth paint on this.
Yes.
We also have other 10 smaller airplanes. We have 2 helicopters, and basically this is how we train our students.
So do you do flight training? Yeah. Do you do flight training, like how to be a pilot?
No, we don't. Okay. We don't have that pilot.
More of the other electronics and things like that around the airplane.
Yes, and something that I've been mentioning a lot lately to people that they reach out to me and they ask me, hey, does Mohawk have I want to become a pilot? I tell them, well, if something that the crisis that we're going through right now has taught us is that pilots maybe, and the career of a pilot is not the safest way to go right now. Look at the aviation industry right now. Airplanes are not going anywhere. Yeah. But what are they doing with the airplanes? You need to have the knowledge to put them apart.
What are they doing with the airplanes? I don't know. Okay, yeah. That's a good question.
I'll tell you what they do. They have these the pictures of these places are amazing. The majority that I've seen are in the States, and there are these big yards of, like, it looks like a desert where you have
empty airplanes.
40 737s put apart because they need to put the airplane apart in order for the structural material to last longer, right?
Right.
What are the careers that are needed for this? People that have the training on the structural part, on the mechanical part, on the electronic part.
They got to keep planes working. Yeah.
There you go. You come and study an aviation program at Mohawk College. You are going to get a job.
There you go. Yeah.
Now, as I mentioned before, we are strong in engineering and IT. We have over 15 programs that are engineering related and IT related. These are 2-year and 3-year programs. And I'm glad to announce that these programs, they'll come with the possibility to do co-op as well, right? So if you're looking to do software development, for example, chemical engineering technology, biotechnology, um, any of these programs, you can opt in being able to make it with taking the program with co-op education. We have the famous skill trades. We are a college that is also known for its skill trades. Skill trades, in my opinion, to make it more simple for those that they don't know, it's programs that are related to construction in Canada, right? And these are very well-paid programs. This is something that in our countries, well, at least in Latin America, construction is something that is like underseen. In Canada, when you play your cards right, when you go to school, you get educated on the skilled trade sector. A kid that comes to school at 17 can easily be retiring by 50 because they progressively keep getting educated. They progressively be getting certified. A plumber that works and is part of a union is making over $100,000 a year.
It's huge.
It's huge, right? So these are things that we need to have our minds open to, right? Understanding how things work here, how we can make them work for us as a student, right?
Right.
Parents, of course, my biggest recommendation, keep your mind open. Keep your mind open, receive this information with an open mind, and we're like, okay, hold on a second. Maybe what worked for us is not gonna work for our kid. Maybe we should let them try this avenue and let's see where it goes, right? Business programs as well. We also have about 10 business programs. They are business programs with an emphasis, right? Business accounting, business financial services, business administration, business marketing, advertising and marketing communications media. One of my favorite programs on Mohawk.
You guys are great at. You guys are fantastic at.
I was telling yesterday in a presentation as well about this program. And for instance, one of the main differences of a college versus a university, our advertisement program, you go and you study and you do your work at a replica of a marketing company that we have at Mohawk called the agency. Oh. Like you walk in and like
you're in the agency.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So like you know what to expect when you go out. You're not gonna go well like me. Of course, some of your classes are gonna be in the sterile classroom where 50 desks are placed and you have a blackboard and you have a computer. But these are exciting things to look at, and we're like, oh, cool, I can go and do my work at the agency. It's a phenomenal thing, right? Visual arts, we have animation, 3D, and graphic design. Those two programs are very on high demand. Students are expected to apply between 6 to 1 year before for those programs, and that's how good they are, right? And that's how much demand they have. As student,
big demand.
Yeah, they're great because there is a labor market for
it. And it will be competitive as well. It'll be very competitive, students. So if you're out there looking for animation, you've got to have a good portfolio and get that into Mohawk quickly.
Exactly.
Get contacted if you're interested in animation. Do you have anything in game design, gaming?
No, unfortunately, we don't. I mean, probably in the near future, we're going to start going in that direction in providing that type of program. But for the meantime, we don't, unfortunately.
Okay.
All right. And then we have our health and community services programs that are really good as well. Community social service worker is a great program for those that are interested in giving back to their community, studying a program that will also allow them to earn a salary as well. Social service worker, I think, is one of the best programs out there. You're giving back to your community, you're caring for others, and at the same time, you're making a full-time job.
And a great, huge industry right now, of course, the health industry.
That is correct, especially with what's happening right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also, like for September 2021, we're going to be launching our first undergrad in digital health. As we can see, this crisis created opportunities. Every crisis brings opportunities, and one of them was understanding the necessities of our healthcare system. And one of them is like, how do we deliver healthcare through other avenues other than call the doctor?
Yeah, digitize it. Absolutely, exactly. Great idea.
Now it's important. It's important, and that's a program that is going to have a huge demand in the labor market in the future. Absolutely
Yeah.
huge.
I know my father used to do his heart rate and blood pressure right on the iPad, and it would shoot over to his doctor automatically.
Really?
Fantastic stuff. Really
See,
amazing. They set
that's
it up
phenomenal.
in his house, and then he just
Yeah.
every morning get up and check his heart rate and his blood pressure, and it was sent over, and so the doctor would have a chart to see how he's doing.
It's great
Digitizing
things.
healthcare,
Yeah.
yeah, the future,
It's gonna be
definitely.
huge. It's gonna be huge. And now here is one of the my favorite part of the presentation. What type of academic program should we select? Based on my experience, based on what I see on a daily basis as the person who represents Mohawk College in Latin America, and now having this great opportunity of being today, sitting down here with you, speaking about careers, about the labor market, it's important to bring up the fact, sorry, that Erindale has academic advisors. And this is, in my opinion, something crucial because as I mentioned throughout my presentation, there is not only Mohawk College. We have 30 opportunities in Ontario. Mohawk College being one of the best ones, of course, absolutely. But probably if we don't have the programs that you're looking for, it doesn't mean that you're going to be enclosed to select one school. No, by no means. You need to have people that they are familiar with the system, that they're familiar with what's out there, right? And that guidance that Erindale provides to the students, that ability that the student has to sit down with someone and pretty much start pinpointing how to give that next step, right? First step, coming to high school. What's the next step? Okay, let's go to a college. Which I choose? Which should I choose? Based on what? What are the realities? What do I need? What is going to be the scores? Uh, what what's the admissions process? All that. That's something great that you guys do there.
For sure, absolutely, yeah.
Beautiful. All right. So let's speak about
Okay,
university
university
pathways.
pathway. So this is
Yeah.
great. I like this idea.
I like it. I'm not a big fan of it, as you can see from my presentation. But I know that people are sometimes stubborn and they really want to go and pursue a university degree. So here is something for everyone, okay? So at Mohawk College, when you come and you take a program, a 2-year program or a 3-year program, you can continue in a university in order to complete your undergrad degree. Okay? We have established university pathway agreements with Athabasca, with Queens, Western McMaster, Waterloo, Laurier, TRU, Brock, and Berkeley in the United States for those that come to our music program. Okay. Ideally, what happens through these articulated agreements is that you're going to come to Mohawk, you're going to take a program, and then you're going to go to university and complete 2 more years.
Right. Now, I can speak to
Yeah,
this personally because I know
please.
several people and several students who, they came to Canada and they wanted to pursue a certain career. I believe it was in paramedics, or it could have been
Okay.
personal support. And they did 2 years in college, and they went out in the workforce. And it was a hard job. It was a stressful
Mhm.
job. And they worked for a few years, and then they went back and decided to go to university to upgrade to do kinesiology and physiotherapy.
Awesome.
So, I mean, this is one pathway to consider students out there where you could do a 2-year program, get your work permit if you're an international student, try the career. But some of these careers are especially in healthcare, can be quite stressful, and
They
maybe
are.
maybe you want to change later. So is there any limit when they can go back to university? So if, for example, they do 2 years of college and then they work 5 years and then they say, I want to maybe go do a kinesiology or something else. The degrees, the Mohawk diploma still applies for them, correct?
It still applies, absolutely. Ideally, in a logical way to do this, it would be you come to Mohawk, you come to your college, you do your program, you do your immigration process with the intention that once you get that permanent residency in Canada, you can go back to a university and pay as a
Right.
Canadian student, right?
Yeah.
Nowadays, we cannot lie. A year at a university is about $35,000 to $40,000 a
Right.
year.
Very expensive.
And that's the price of one program at Mohawk College, right?
Right.
So what you should do is do your college, go to the labor market, as you mentioned, get some real experience, make sure that that is what you really want to study, and then continue your further education.
And many universities, of course, have online programs. So
Yes.
after you graduate from Mohawk and you work and get your residency, you know, maybe 5 years later, you decide to go online and do some of your courses online and get your university degree. Because that is also obviously the future now as we look at education. So you'll be able to do a lot of stuff online as well to upgrade your skills.
Exactly. It's a great opportunity for everyone.
Yeah.
Even for us, I think nowadays, if we want to go back to school, we can just sign up for a continuing education course online and just take it. Right? All right. So for those that are watching this right now, Mohawk College, where I can find the programs, you can go to our website, www.mohawkcollege.ca. You go under programs, you're going to find a list of all the opportunities that I was talking about throughout my presentation. 106 opportunities. If you want to get to know a little bit more about us, the department, what we do, if you're watching us from Vietnam, from India right now, from Ukraine right now, all you have to do is go to the international tab. We're going to find a list with the name of my colleagues. We have a colleague for each area, for each region, that they're going to be more than happy to get in touch with you, speak with you, and as well, if you're going to
Well, that's in the international tab there.
That is correct.
If you look, there's a tab called international, and so you can tap on that, and wherever you are in the world, you can find a Mohawk representative.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And our application process. How do you apply to Mohawk College? It's very easy. It's very, very easy. It's like the simplest application I ever done in my life. You have to fill out an application form. It's a 2-page application form. You attach the photocopy of your passport. Since you are coming to Erindale, ideally, you have to send us your grade 12 transcripts and diploma. Okay? Grade 12 transcripts and diploma. In order to be accepted in one of our programs, you must certify your English. Now, here is a benefit of coming to Canada and complete your 2 last years of high school at Erindale, for instance, is that you are not going to have to take the academic IELTS or the TOEFL IBT. You're going to be able to apply with grade 12 English, Canadian English.
Right.
Grade 12 English.
So that's students, if you do really well at the Erindale Academy at the high school, you know, you can't fail it, or you can't get like 50%. You gotta get there is a minimum grade. There is a minimum grade. You got to pass it. You can enter Mohawk without the need of taking IELTS or TOEFL or any of those standardized tests, which is great.
It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal because now you don't have the stress of like, oh, I gotta go and do the TOEFL IBT, or I have to do the academic IELTS now. No, now you have your grade 12 English. And welcome to Mohawk.
And there's another bonus I'm going to tell you, students, if you've stayed and watched this whole webinar and all the way to the end, there is a bonus. If you apply and you say, Ricardo, I watched you on the Erindale Academy webinar, Ricardo is going to send you a photo, an autographed photo of his avatar signed for your poster in your dormitory in your room.
I will do that.
He will do that for you.
I have my Sharpie here
I saw you on the webinar, and he'll send you an autographed photo, because that's a great avatar. Now, there is a dormitory, correct?
There is. Where I'm going to speak about that on the next next slide. Look, but just to let people know, especially parents, parents tend to get a little bit more stressed about this part about, okay, so if we apply, how long, how is it, how it's going to last. So it's very simple. You're going to send us the documents. I personally, or one of my colleagues, will be in charge of receiving the documents. We're going to make sure that nothing is missing. And if everything is okay, we send them to our admissions department. Our admissions department will be releasing a letter that is known as a confirmation letter, seat letter. And in this letter, we're going to ask you to make an initial payment that it's part from your first semester fees. It's nothing extra, of $2,200. This is going to save your spot in the program, and it will allow us to continue with the process. Once this payment is received by Mohawk, we are going to send you in about 5 to 10 business days the letter of acceptance, the LOA. And with this letter, you can initiate your process of applying for a student visa. If you are already in Canada, you can start applying for an extension of your study permit that goes aligned with Mohawk College as the DLI on your permit.
Right. Great. Fantastic. Yeah. You got to pay students at some point. You got to pay parents.
Exactly.
To save your seat. But 2,200, not too bad. It's not so expensive. And, you know, you'll be able to pay the rest later after you get your visa, I'm assuming, correct?
Exactly. Well, something that I give as a piece of advice to Latin American, and I'll do it here to everybody. Once you receive your LOA, your letter of acceptance, it's ideal to pay your first semester. What happens in case that you don't get a visa? Mohawk College will return all the monies paid except for 250 Canadian dollars.
Okay.
We take to cover our administration fees.
Right.
But at the end, you already paid 2,200. So there is no point in being nervous about to paying the next part. And what it's gonna do is that it's gonna help for your application, because once you submit your application to the embassy, to the Canadian government, it's a serious application. You have the real intention to come to Canada and get educated. You are not paying 2,200 and let me see if by luck I'm gonna get my visa. No, you have a serious intention, and they're gonna see that as well.
Yeah, no, it's a very good point. And it's the same thing for the Arundel Academy, the high school here. When you get the letter of acceptance and when you paid the fees, you should feel secure. You are protected here by the government. There's a lot of government regulation here for colleges, for high schools, and you should feel, you know, that your decision is safe and secure. I know sometimes it can be nervous to send fees overseas. You're not sure, but don't worry about Canada. Of all the places, do not worry. Our education system is very, very regulated, and you can feel protected.
Exactly. You are dealing with serious institutions here. Arundel, Mohawk College, they're very serious institutions about what we do. So where am I going to live? Well, I'm doing my studies at Mohawk College. We have two options. We have the student residence. It's located in Mohawk College. It has a cost of around 11,800 Canadian dollars per academic year, per 8 months. But we also have homestay, which is my favorite one, and I'll tell you why. A homestay in Canada is basically the possibility to live with a Canadian family. You're gonna have your private room, access to a washing machine, a dryer machine, access to internet, access to the kitchen. You're gonna have 3 meals per day included, and it's gonna be around 1,200 Canadian dollars per month, which is a great price. 1,200 Canadians, your transportation is included, your medical insurance is included. All you need is an extra $400, and basically you are set to live in Hamilton and to study at Mohawk College. Homestay is a great avenue because all you need to do is stay for the first 4 months, first 5 months. Get familiar with the city, get familiar with the college, get familiar with friends, right? And then at your 5th month, what you do is that with the friends that are in the same situation as you, you go out and rent a house. How much is to rent a house in Hamilton right now? It's about 2,000 to 2,500 divided by 4 people. To do the math, the rent's gonna come even lower now, right? So your academic experience is no longer 1,200, but it's even cheaper.
And I know for a fact there are a lot of companies in Hamilton, because Hamilton is really an education town where it has Mohawk College, it has McMaster University. So there are companies that will help you to rent out a house. So it doesn't sound so intimidating or difficult to do if you're thinking about, oh, I can't rent a house. They have companies,
it's easy.
And it's very, very easy to sign up and rent those houses out. So it's very unique in Canada because of that.
Exactly, it's a very, very easy process. So you have those 2 options, and as well, if you want to connect with us, with the market specialist at Mohawk College, we'll be able to guide you through the process. We can let you know what's the best way to do it. We have contacts that we work with, so there's going to be always support for you during the process. And we come finally to almost the end of my presentation. I like to always close with reminding people about the labor experience in Canada. Always remember that the Canadian labor market works in conjunction with what you study. It works with the skills that you acquire at a college like Mohawk College. 88.6% of our Mohawk graduates, they find job between the first and the third week once they're finished their studies, which is
First and third week.
Yeah, we're talking about weeks here.
Wow, that's impressive.
It's very impressive, but like there is always that question, okay, like, but why so quick? It's because it proves the point that when you come to a college, you are receiving valuable education that is actually needed and actually required in the labor market. We're not doing an academic degree. We're getting trained to do things that actually they're being looked for.
Are needed immediately.
That are needed, and that we need people in order to do them, right? So you're not going to be frustrated. You're going to do your program, you're going to finish it, and you're going to be able to get a job in the area that you went to school for.
Right, right.
Remember that the Canadian employer is always looking for hands-on. He's always looking for experience. He's looking for people who have the know-how, right? You could go and pursue 2 or 3 academic degrees. If at the job interview, there is a person with 1 college degree that knows how to work the age of software, that position is required to know, and they're hiring for, that person that has that knowledge of the know-how is gonna get the job. Not the person that has 3 or 4 degrees and no, because it's the person who knows the tools that are needed in order to do the job well done. And how do we acquire this experience? We have to come to Mohawk and get a program, an academic program, and let us teach you and give you those tools.
And you have to get the avatar.
And you have to get the avatar. We'll make one for you. James, I'm open
awesome.
for questions now if there are more questions.
I think we had our questions come through. A lot about co-op there. That was
Beautiful.
Fascinating and
Awesome.
fascinating. I think co-op is, I'm a big fan of co-op because it gives you that work experience. But I think beyond co-op and getting outside of Mohawk, and I know the interest is in co-op, I would say that Mohawk also has kind of co-op facilities in the college itself. So there's robotics. You showed a picture of the robotics facilities. Could you speak to that a little bit more? Because it's not only about just going outside and getting a job somewhere outside. You have the skill machines and then the ability for the kids to use them right there in Mohawk.
Absolutely. So that's what we talk about hands-on education, right? Like at Mohawk College, what we are going to do is that you're going to come, for instance, to one of our engineering programs. We're going to train you on the machines that you're going to be using once you join the labor force, right? We're not going to sit you down in a classroom and bore you with a lot of information that probably you won't be able to use it. And maybe 4 years down. Yeah, exactly. 4 years down the line is going to be obsolete. No, what we're going to do is that we're going to give you that skill set that's required.
And I can tell you this from students that have told me they have gone to McMaster University. They're doing a program at McMaster University, but they are being sent to Mohawk to work on the different machines. So specifically electrical engineering or different types of engineering. They're doing that at Mohawk because Mohawk has the technology there to do it, whereas they don't have it necessarily at McMaster.
We have
an interesting point. Not to say bad things about McMaster.
No,
it's a great university.
It's a great university.
To understand the hands-on. So McMaster's doing theory, but Mohawk has that hands-on experience, which is quite interesting.
Exactly.
How about a question coming through? How about website, website design, anything with website?
Software development. Go for
software development.
The person that wants to do UI/UX and web design, go for software development. Start with software development, and let me tell you a story. So Canada is a first world country, and right now we have a deficit of software developers in this moment in Canada. We need software developers, really.
Yes, true.
Right now, I have family members that they have worked as consultants at Amazon, for instance, and they tell me that once they hire a software developer, it lasts them 3 months, 4 months, because the deficit is so big that it's not weird that if you're a software developer, say for instance, working at Amazon, It's not weird that another company comes and looks for you and tells you, I'll pay you $20,000 more, but you need to quit for them right now and you need to come with us. So your salary already went from 65 to 85 in less than 4 months, not even a year. And that's how bad we need software developers right now. You want to do anything web related, do a software development program.
Yeah. All right. Great. Any other final questions out there? I'm not seeing any messages coming through. I think you've answered a lot, and I thank those students who stayed on here at the end. That's awesome, and it will be shared, of course, on YouTube for everybody to see. So I want to thank you, Ricardo, for your time and your information and your personal stories too. I think it's really nice for students and parents to hear your personal stories and your personal feelings. That's great to share. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Thank you for the opportunity. And for those who watch or are watching or are going to watch this recording, thank you for the minutes that they're going to dedicate for this video. And here we are, arms open to receive you here at Mohawk College at Irvingdale. And if you have any questions, please just ask.
All right. And don't forget to go to that website for Mohawk's website and click on international for wherever you live. And you can find an international advisor from Mohawk to help you. So thank you again, Ricardo. Thank you to Mohawk College for their time today. And we'll see you next week at our next webinar. And thank you all for joining us today.